Hello everyone and welcome to English 145 Unit 1, which is the comic and graphic novel literacy narrative. Now, what all of those things kind of are going to mean for this unit, we're going to explore during this first week. So as I suggest on the weekly agenda, definitely go over the Unit 1 prompt. And the prompts are usually pretty long just because I have trouble being brief. I try to pack in as much information as I can into the prompts so that you know exactly what you're going to be doing and why. So to kind of help you work your way through that first prompt, as you can see from the weekly agenda, that's why I keep kind of looking at it if you're wondering, is you're going to do a TLDR. If you're not familiar with that term, it's kind of like a term that originated on Reddit, which just stands for too long, didn't read. So it just basically means a summary, right? So if someone in your class came up to you and was like, hey, what do we have to do for Unit 1? You would say, oh, you have to do this. You have to make this, right? And that's kind of your explanation. So just give a brief summary, and that summary is then going to be uploaded to the Assignments tab, which says TLDR Unit 1. And then you are going to read, you have to read this, The 5 Stages of Writing with Anxiety by Allison Hauser, which is a grassroots journal article that's going to be found on the ISU Writing website. So you don't have to get the book yet. So if you looked at the syllabus, you'll notice that you have to get the grassroots 11.2 version, right? So that's going to be this, but you don't have to get this until week 5. So you have some time to get it if you haven't gotten it already. Now, this cannot be purchased on Amazon. This cannot be purchased on any other online retailer other than the Illinois State Barnes & Noble online site, as well as going to the in-person Barnes & Noble, as well as to the Alamo. That's the only places this can be purchased. So this is the 11.2 version of the journal, and we will start using this week 5, so you have about a month or so then to get it, right? So we're going to start reading out of a different journal issue, right, first. And so you're going to read that, and then you're going to write a 300-word analytical response to this article. So this is a response. While the TLDR is a summary of the prompt, this is not a summary of the article. I want you to engage with the article. I want you to analyze it. I want you to say, this is what I thought was done really well. This is what I thought could have been done better. This is a part that really made sense to me. This is a part that really didn't make sense to me. This is a part where I can really see how this connects to my writing. This is a part where I see where it really connects to my my project that I'm working on, right? So you're going to kind of work your way through and analyze the article. And then we're going to do what I'm calling kind of our practice or our trial run for a discussion on the forums. So I'm going to be the first discussion leader, and I'm going to post my discussion questions. You're going to answer one of those questions in the forum, but then you're also going to respond to 2 of your peers, and that part is due on Thursday. So part 1, which is writing the response and posting that to the forum, that's due on Tuesday night, and then responding to one of my discussion questions and 2 of your peers' analytical responses is due Thursday night. Make sense? Okay. So then there's a section that you'll see on the weekly agenda that's titled Other. Now, if we were in a face-to-face class, these are the things that we would be doing during class time, right? So these are the things that are not going to be for points necessarily. I mean, participation is 100 points of this class, right? So this will lead into that, but it's not like, each of these smaller assignments are going to be worth 5 points for this or 10 points for that, etc., right? So the things in the other category are what we would have done in class, and they're going to be helping you as you move your way through the unit and you work your way through the project. So things that are on this list are the literacy list. So thinking about what is literacy, because for this particular unit, literacy, as you might know it, is just reading and writing, being proficient in that. But we're going to break up literacy and broaden it a little bit more. So it could be that you're proficient in communicating in maybe a different way. Maybe you feel like you really have a good literacy with text messaging. Maybe you have a really good literacy with Twitter, right? So what are something with your communication that you feel like you're really competent in? And how does that then relate to your academic discipline or your professional career? Because remember that the title of this class, right, is writing in the academic disciplines. So how does that connect? And so as you read through the prompt, hopefully that kind of makes a little bit more sense to you. And then I have a showing versus telling section. So if you're going to show somebody something versus tell them, that kind of works your way through that. I won't go too much into it here. And then there is the student discussion sign-up sheet. So everybody, no matter what, is going to be leading a discussion in this class. And leading a discussion, that just means posting insightful questions, right? So my questions are going to kind of be a guide for you for this first round of discussion, right? So say, the article is about or mentions junk drawers or something like that, and your question is, do you have a junk drawer in your home? That's not quite getting at what the article is about, right? But you want to make sure you're asking insightful questions about the article and about the subjects, and specifically the writing and communication parts of it, right? And then the last kind of thing in the other section is brainstorming. So I want you to start brainstorming ideas. I'm doing this in the forum so that it's public, so that you can look at your peers brainstorming, and maybe that will help you as well, kind of get some ideas for what you want to do for your project, right? What kind of story do you want to tell? Because it's a literacy narrative. So if it's literacy, proficient in some sort of communication, right? Narrative means story, right? So you're telling me a story, but it's got to be a specific story, not just kind of an in general kind of a thing, but is there a specific moment where you encountered this literacy for the first time, or a moment where you found that you were really proficient in that type of communication? What is a specific, not just like a general description, but like a specific story that you can tell? Because you're going to write the text-based version first, and then you're going to turn it into a comic, right? So that act of taking one thing from one genre and turning it into another, that's something we're going to kind of be working with this unit as well as the idea of multimodality. And that is the theme of this class. And if you're unfamiliar with that term, I would say do a little bit of research to see kind of what that term means for you. But the way that I kind of think about it is, if you think of multimodality, what is that word kind of broken up? Multi, many, right? Modality, mode. What are the different modes, right? So there's visual, there's oral, which is like hearing, right? Oral versus saying. There's tactile, if you can touch it, right? So what are the different kinds of modes you can kind of put together? And so if you're thinking about a comic, that's a multimodal genre, right? Because if you're looking at a comic, it's got the spatial, right, of the different boxes, right, the different panels. And then there's the words, right? So that's alphabetic text or alphanumeric text. And then you've got the picture, right, which is the visual. So you've got three different modes kind of working together to tell a story in a comic. Versus the text-based literacy narrative that you're going to write is going to be just alphanumeric text. Right, and alphabetic versus alphanumeric. Alphabetic is just words, right? Alphanumeric includes like numbers as well. That's the only really difference there. So if you're thinking about it, you're going to take one thing that's in one mode and turn it into another genre that has multiple modes. How are you going to work your way through that? What are the affordances and the limitations of those modes? How are you going to tell the story maybe slightly differently? And remember that with each of these stories that you're going to tell in your literacy narratives, I want you to connect those stories back to what you're going to be doing in the future, right? How are you going to transfer that? Say you are really proficient in Twitter. How can that transfer to your business degree that you're getting? Can it? Can you see those connections, right? Not necessarily that you're going to use Twitter at work, but maybe you are. But what are some other ways that you are going to use, say, being brief, right? Because on Twitter, you only have 140 characters, I think, right? Unless they changed it. 140 characters or so to get your message across. So you have to be very brief. Can that transfer to your career? Maybe, right? So you're thinking about that transfer. What is your antecedent knowledge? What is your uptake? What is your transfer? And antecedent knowledge just means what is the knowledge that you have coming into a situation. Uptake is what have you learned in that situation. And then transfer, how are you going to then use that information somewhere else? So hopefully this all kind of makes sense to you. I try to keep these weekly updates under 10 minutes so that you're not sitting here forever watching me talk. So if I do talk a little bit fast, you can slow down the video on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. Or I'm always welcome to explain things in further detail, whether that's through email. If you prefer just to talk over email, that's fine. If you want to come to my lunchtime chats on Thursdays at 1, you can just pop in and ask your questions and pop out. You can stay for the full hour, totally up to you. Or if that time doesn't work for you, or you would rather make sure that you have a one-on-one meeting with nobody else there, I can do that as well for you over Zoom. It's whatever makes you the most comfortable. So now that we've come to the end of the video, if you've made it this far. I like to know like little things about you, because I think it kind of helps connect you with me and me with you, right? Because we aren't in that face-to-face class. So the first thing that I would like to do my little show and tell with is my little dog. I don't know if you've heard her running around in the background today, but this is Clover. This is my little fur baby. She is a Jack Russell Terrier mix. I have no idea what she is mixed with, but I know she's part Jack Russell, but that's about it. She has so much energy. She's my little cutie. She just turned 2. We celebrated her birthday. And so that's my little dog. And my question to you is, do you have any pets? Or if you don't have any pets, did you ever have a pet? Or if you could have a pet, what kind of pet would you want? That's kind of my question to you. And if you do that and you email me, and if you send me a picture, extra bonus, but if you email me with what kind of pet you have, or what pet you would want, or pet you had growing up, pictures totally encouraged. I'll give you 5 bonus points if you made it to this point in the video. So look out for those little Easter eggs throughout these weekly updates, because it helps me get to know you. It helps, you get to know me a little bit better. And also you get some bonus out of it. So why not? So yeah, thank you for watching this week's first weekly update video for Unit 1. Please email me with any questions. I have my push notifications on my phone, so I try to answer everything within a 24-hour period. On my syllabus, I say 48 hours just to like cover myself, but usually I can get to you within 24 hours. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, set up a Zoom meeting, come to lunchtime chats. Those things are really helpful. So yeah, hope to hear from you soon. Good luck with your first week of this unit. And yeah, send me those pictures of your pets.